A great meeting point, convenient light meals, hot and cold beverages, or a quick snack on the go. What's your order for the day? We don't just say, we do. It's the Stain City way.
Hello and welcome to Real Talk right here on SABC 3. So today we're talking legacy with the man that has excelled on television, on stage and in film. You know him as Bramosko on Scandal, the sleazy tough guy that you don't want to meet in a dark alley, or the hit show Heist. He was talent, the man with an eye for things, and in the thrilling political drama Endgame, he was the manipulative politician Hamilton Shenge. And way back, I'm just going to rewind here, you saw him on Soul City, he was on The Lab, When We're Black, or as the host of the popular arts and culture show Curious Culture. On stage, he's directed over 25 productions locally and abroad. Ken Timbers The Suit, Ethel Fugard's Wisman and Lena, and his very own production, A King is Born. This is just to name a few. In film, he's appeared in local and international blockbusters like Tsotsi, Cry the Beloved Country, Hard to Get, Lord of War, and The Forgotten Kingdom. But he does more than act. He's a patron of the arts, specifically our stories, the African stories. A national treasure. I call him a national monument. Would like to welcome onto the show Ntate Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. Mara, your name is it's a sentence, eh?
Yeah, it comes from the encyclopedia.
Clearly,
yeah, absolutely.
You were like, I just needed to be a statement in a sentence, right?
You should have memorized it when you left home.
As I was driving, I should have been practicing.
Yeah.
Ntate Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha.
Wa Makhetha.
Wa Makhetha.
Yeah.
Wa Makhetha. We're going to get to the surname later because
Right.
I want to talk about the Wa Makhetha part.
Yeah.
But you know, I've never met a person from Lesotho that I don't like. What is it about you guys from Lesotho? Okay, we like you guys because you're giving us water. Let's just put that aside. You are our water supply, so we'll never, ever, ever talk bad about Lesotho people. Otherwise, you're going to have yourself a very dry day.
Yeah.
But what is it about, you know, the soil there that breeds such amazing, humble, grounded people?
I woke to something that made sure that there is no Mosotho who is xenophobic. Moshweshwe basically put together a whole group of exiles and created a nation out of those people. You go to the graveyards, you listen to people saying who they are with their praise songs and everything, and you'll always hear people saying, "Nakele tebele la," and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I guess as being a united nation, coming from somebody that really had this vision of finding commonalities between people, I guess we have no option but to love everybody, because when you do that, we love ourselves.
This is actually quite profound of you. So when you move from Lesotho to move to Soweto, obviously it's not your choice. Your parents were like, we're moving, and you were like, if I stay here, I'm going to starve. Let me just go with these guys.
No. What happens is I am born in Orlando West.
Yeah.
That street between Orlando West High School and Hector Peterson Memorial.
Yeah.
Moema Street, that's where I was born.
Okay, Moema, I remember
And
that.
my grandfather retires. He takes me with him to Hololo in Lesotho.
Yeah.
People will know Butabute.
Yeah.
And then at age 11, my grandfather is late and my father is late. My mother is struggling all by herself, brings me back to, when I was doing standard 3, the olden way, I came back to Soweto.
So the first time I laughed when I was reading your book, which we're going to speak about later, but no, I was like, this guy's a comedian. I laughed out loud. So he says, so he moved from obviously Soweto to Lesotho, and then these were your formative years, and you were watching people how they kissed in Lesotho. Then he moves back to Soweto.
The eternal kiss, yeah.
And then he moves back to Soweto. He says he gets to Soweto and he's like, how do people kiss here? This is how he describes this. All their times, their heads are swaying from side to side. It's as though they're looking for something that is lost in each other's mouths. And this image was further developed by a friend showing me an interesting quote from a book, which a young woman explains her first kiss. His tongue explored the territories that were only explored by a toothbrush in my mouth. Listen, that's when I was like, okay, you're a comedian. So what else was like a shock to your system? Because, you know, you're young, then you move to Lesotho, and that, you know, it's the pace. You get used to the pace, you get used to the community, and everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
Then you're up and you go to, yes, where you were born, but you didn't grow up there. What was the shock to your system?
Well, firstly, language. I remember in same standard 3, and they can pick up the so-called accent, which I have problems with. When you speak like yourself, it's not an accent. It's your authentic self. But anyway, they pick up Lesotho accent. And so one day they asked me, Mofokeng, uja pere? And I said, because I didn't understand the question. I thought it was just an information thing. And so there was a whole cultural shock when it comes to language, when it comes to the games people play in the street. I just was awkward amongst my peers. And yeah.
Is this where you got the humor from? The humor and the ability to, A, be self-deprecating, where if you can make fun of yourself, then you'll win people over?
It's up to you to work that out.
Because, I mean, it's worked in your favor. The 3 decades later, you're still on every TV, you're still on every stage. That talent had to have formed somewhere. Where did it come from?
Sure. I have the Makhetha DNA in me. And when you look into the people of Makhetha, there is one guy called Motofela Makhetha, who was on Radio Bantu Sesotho, Lesedi FM today, who used to do poetry there. Okay. I grew up just glued to his programs because there was something about language and the way in which he gave praises. The program was, somebody in the public looks at this and then writes a poem, and the listeners must work out what it is that's being praised.
That he's talking about. That's the theater of mind.
Yeah. And then, of course, I was listening to Springbok Radio, and I was listening to the squad cars, the radio dramas, and all those kinds of things. But that theater of the mind trained me in a lot of ways. And I always had this intrigue with language and the ability to create images and to create a journey for people who are listening.
So, touching on language, Tsotsitao, I don't think there's anyone on TV, on stage, anywhere that can slip into it and you just like, I just want to call you Brabiza all the time. Like, you just look like a Brabiza, you know? It's like you're going to take out a cord and go, here you go. Where do you pick up Tsotsitao? I understand your mom ran a shebeen.
She ran a shebeen. And these guys would sit there. There's something about when Chibuku begins to boil. Anyway, so people start singing hymns. People start speaking English that you don't know where they get it from. And then they break off into this Tsotsitao. And everyone wants to show off how much of a clever they are. And I'm not aware that it's somehow seeping into me, that I am learning this thing and somehow I'm internalizing it. And yeah, from time to time in the streets, we also play these games and we want to pretend to be brasso and so. Truly speaking, I did not know that I know so much Tsotsitao until I had to do Moscow. And these days, I struggle. Let me tell you, people might not know, but I'll say it. If I were to do an English script, I come from Wits and Columbia in New York, but I struggle to speak English texts since I started doing Moscow. Because I speak English, I speak Tsotsitao, and I speak Sesotho. So that experience in Lesotho has come in handy.
Yes.
The Shebeen experience has come in handy.
Colombia.
Colombia has come in handy. But to do all Colombia, Jesus.
You know when they like, Maracai's English, it's knocked off. I know that thing when English runs away from you. Listen, there's still a whole lot more to come with Ntate Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. As a man of many talents, we want to know, how does he balance between work, family, and self-care? Stay with us.
Why are you not going to show tanka?
Angazibuza umnikazi wala ekhaya.
Hey, kini namnikazi wendawo.
Manje ngibuzelani ke mina.
Jerry is so lovely. When I first met Jerry, I had a fan moment. Like, oh my God, I'm meeting bro Jerry.
Isn't he came right? Isu. How a chance?
Anginikeze 30 minutes. Mangabe le ndawo le ngijabulisa. Khazana.
You're wearing my dad's suit?
It was going to the old age home, and Mr. Farrakhan from next door, he bought it and gave it to me.
What? What right does he have?
He paid for it. The man
Manzi, I'm the one making this donation, all right?
Okay.
Not you. And I wanted to give the furniture to the old age home, not sell it.
Ke maotla di hopolang dilemo tse tsotlhe tse.
Continually chat. Tabena ya hore ka kamoreng ka mo.
O hlokomele. Tatai, ha se sebapalo.
Ke moditjhaba naheng. Nana hlompho.
Hobane motho jalo ntate o tseba go motho o tlile mona hore a tlo boloka ntate wa hae.
Msane no hlompholotse ntatai.
I learned from Sidney Poitier that as the senior man, senior artists, seniors, you know, I should be generous with my gift.
Hey man, the get budget up man. Godoy. And tu? What the kira skis bujo?
Yeah, he's one of the greatest actors that we have in South Africa. Actually, he's a living legend. And I was fortunate enough to work with him on my first feature film, which was Tsotsi. And he's continued to do very well on television and theater work, actually directing and acting in theater. So I've always followed his work, and I think he's one of the greatest actors, and we should celebrate him while he's alive.
Welcome back. You're with Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. We're here with the gentle giant of theatre, Ntate Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. He's built a legacy as an acclaimed actor. In 2013, he won the SAFTA Lifetime Achievement Award. And in 2017, as if the Lifetime won, you know when you win a Lifetime, you think, okay, now you're done. In 2017, this guy comes back and is like, yes, give me that SAFTA for Best Actor for the local drama Heist. Huh?
That's right.
You're saying something very, poignant here with Sidney Poitier. You must be generous with your craft.
Absolutely.
Please unpack that for me.
You see, if I'm going to act a role with you, you are my second wife. And we go through motions. The thing is, acting is like playing a game of tennis.
Yes.
The better the strokes I play, the better your own game gets. And so I've got to make sure that I don't cheat you of myself, of my talent, of my experience, and throw you the best strokes that I can. And then even you surprise yourself, simply because of what I provide for you in that situation. That's what I mean. I must be generous. Instead of being, actor. No, I don't do that. I just bring the best out of the person in front of me.
Because ultimately, if I've never acted in my life and I am just a model and I'm coming on here, you know, your greatness is what you elevate me.
Yeah.
Okay, what I do afterwards is entirely up to me, but when you will elevate
I
me.
should not intimidate you, I should affirm you. Then I pull out that positive, that talent, that self-actualization in you.
I'm so glad you touched on the entire, like, you know, model, whatever, because the thing about TV and, you know, theater in itself, the craft that we do is that it's very aesthetic, you know, because you first see me, before you hear me, you first see me, right?
Yeah.
So there were lots of times when, for instance, I was told, you can never be on TV, you've got a gap. And I was like, how? Abana gap kana bang any TV?
Yeah.
You know, where's that written?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with you, as a kid, you were called One Eye, because, you know, you went through an accident there.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time you thought to yourself, you know, I'm not going to make these things that I want because of this eye?
I struggled as a teenager.
Yeah.
Because people forget everything from head to toe.
Yeah.
All they see is the eye. And that's what they use to describe you. But here's the thing. The problem is not you, it's the person who's watching you. They have not learned the art of seeing people that are in front of them. Until I remember I got to Wits, and my professor, towards the end of first year, says, you know what? I want you to be in a two-hander. Sizwe Banzi is dead. Never been done. A first year, being offered a two-hander. He says, you know, there is a certain presence that you have on stage and in front of the camera that there's nothing you can do to have that.
Yeah.
You can't buy, you can have a PhD, you can't buy a presence and that ability with language and so on. And that one incident brought all the confidence in me. But you know, listen, you don't start at first year at Wits. You start in the little sketches at church, in the community group.
Theater.
Every little opportunity you get, you do it so well that you can put your signature under it. The Muruti in me comes out. There are two verses that took me to Wits. One of them is Ecclesiastes 9:10 and 10:10. One says, whatsoever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might or to the best of your ability. And so, if I'm going to act a cripple, I'm going to act a cripple. If I'm just an extra, I'll do it in such a way that they realize they made a big mistake. You do it in such a way you can put your signature under it. But then number two, it says, if an axe is blunt, more strength is needed. But wisdom, training, expertise gives success. And that's why I went to university. Listen, it's my own prejudice, I'll say it. If you're not trained, we see you once, we've seen you for always. Because you've got no breadth and no depth.
You're linear, you one-dimensional.
Absolutely. So you get 10 roles, but it's the names of the characters that change, but rightfully you're playing the same character. That's why I spent 8 years of university life at Wits and at Columbia to get, if you try 3 options and they don't work, you still come up with a 4th option that works.
If you are not trained, we see you once, we see you forever.
Yes.
That is, and speaking of being trained, there's another thespian that we've had on the show, and she said the same thing about, she's like, look, there are people who are naturally talented, and by all means, that's your goal. But the ability to change from one nuance to another nuance to another nuance can only be taught when in the classroom of theater. And she recorded a message for us.
Yeah.
For you.
Oh boy.
Please look at the screen.
When you autographed my homework diary in high school, you said to me, Ntate Mofokeng, reach for the stars. And I did. I didn't realize that I would reach so far and so high that I would land right next to one of the brightest luminaries that South Africa has to offer in the arts industry, and that is you, Ntate Mofokeng. Working with you, learning from you, is like receiving free tickets to a masterclass with Brecht, Stanislavski, Meisner, and it's a privilege I don't take for granted. I just only wish that many more young and upcoming artists would have the privilege to work and learn at your feet as I have.
Are you in awe?
That's a master stroke. Why me?
Listen, after the break, a tale of a fateful encounter that has transformed his life forever. You want to stay with us? Huh? Welcome back. This is Real Talk with my guest, Ntate Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. For a while, we only knew him as Ntate Jerry Mofokeng. But last year, he announced that he was now Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. We're going to chat about that. Before we do that, you know these kids these days, they love Drake, ne? Drake is like the hip-hop star. That
oh, my goodness. You got to see that. Oh, boy.
Look, he's in a movie that's produced by Drake, in a short film. Okay, now, come on. Okay. First things first, please, round of applause. Okay. I saw the short film.
Yeah.
Because you know, when I have a guest, I follow the trail. Okay, he did this.
Yeah.
Then the next thing, I put your name in, they're like, Jerry. Then the next Drake, I'm like, maybe there's a video of you on Instagram singing along to Drake.
Yeah.
Let me see. Next thing, you're in a Drake film.
That's right.
How did that happen?
My agent calls me and says, there are these people doing something about Drake's music.
Please forgive me. That's what it's called.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
We do so many things. And they say, look, we think you should do it. It will be an interesting experience for you. I said, all right. I say, script. They say, don't worry about that. It's minor. You'll be able to crack it. And I get there. And I say, I'm in a Drake. My kids go crazy. Can we go with you? I said, no, you can't. And by the way, you're not supposed to announce. Don't tell anybody until it's been done and he's out of the country. And so we go to some big mansion and we shoot the swimming pool and what have you. And then we get into town and some offices. And then we go to Clip Town. And a bunch of guys are doing their thing there. And I go through. And you know the problem is with directors.
Yeah.
If they ask you to do something and you do it well, then they give you more to do.
Which is not a problem. Come on, it's not a problem.
So that was that.
Oh my word. You know, I was just like, these kids, though, if they knew this, they'd be running. They'd be like, yo, what's Drake like? You know, tell us a little more about Drake. Speaking of social media, you are quite fluid there, hey? You know, you think old people, not that I'm saying you're old, you think mature people are not that great at social media, but you're on there and you post in your family and you post your mom.
Yeah.
Is that you posting or do you have people doing it?
It's me.
It's you.
I do it personally. 2 years ago, I got onto Instagram. I checked this afternoon and I am at 4,800 followers.
Okay.
I thought, right, I'm not doing too bad. I mean, I think YV is at 21,000. Look, she started long ago and she's a master at it. And you see, each time I stand next to her, I get 127 likes in 1 hour.
Okay, I'm going to do a campaign now. What's your name on Instagram?
Goodness.
You don't...
Okay. Let them just look for me, they'll find me.
We'll tell you before this hour ends here with Real Talk. We'll let you know what his Instagram page is. You must go follow him because he needs to catch up to the wife. He's at 4,000, wife's at 21,000. So with prayer and your follows, he will get there. So let's talk about Wa Makhetha. You know, you were Jerry Mofokeng.
Yeah.
And then last year, a few years ago, you became Jerry Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. And I see your children have taken the surname as well as your wife.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? And, how did you pay homage to that lineage?
Look, I think people should realize the importance of identity, especially for the boy child. Yeah. Because if I don't know who I am, who are my children? And then it goes generations and generations. So in 2015, on the 10th of December, which is my wife's birthday, somebody comes and tells me, by the way, Nthate, I apologize, but I must tell you, my father is your father. And he mentions somebody I know. And eventually it emerged that, yes, Mr. Nthate Makhetha is my father. And eventually my mother, I want to thank her 1,000,000 times. She confirms that, no, it is true. Nthate Makhetha is your father. And my family discusses with Makhetha family, releases me, and the Makhetha family welcomes me. And slowly we're working with Home Affairs to begin to affirm that identity. And let me tell you something that, I don't know how to explain it. My mother tells me one day she goes to Lesotho with me and we're in the Mofokeng homestead and I'm crying. You know, when you still have a baby in your arms. And some old wise woman says to her, "Me, go and tell the child who they are." And she goes outside, "Ngwanaka, o Mokwena, o Ngwana Makhetha, chup still." She goes back into the house. Now, it doesn't matter what you think about superstition or culture or Christianity, I kept quiet. And too often, the older people will tell you. They know. Isthakazelo somntwana. You give them the wrong sthakazelo, the GPS is lost. It's lost. And so I am so thankful to the Mofokeng family for giving me their blessing for me to go to my identity and walk in my GPS and my anointing.
And what I love as well is, you know, it's Mofokeng Wa Makhetha. It's not Mofokeng hyphen Makhetha. You know, if your identity, you took it so much, because for us, that's a hyphen.
Yes.
That's a hyphen.
Yes.
So I was like, I really like that as well. We have one of your family members who said, you know what, I can't miss out on an opportunity to celebrate my person like this.
Oh.
Here are several things Mom and Dad have taught me. Number one requirement in our home was always to have a dream, and no dream is too big. If God has given it to you, pursue it, chase it, and never give up on it. Secondly, don't despise small beginnings. If once you've started that race, keep at it, you will get there. Thirdly, mistakes are just that. Mistakes. Don't camp there. Get up, move on. Never let anyone make you feel bad about being you, because you're awesome. End of story. Sometimes it's important to laugh at yourself. We're not perfect, and sometimes it's good to stop and say, wow, that was dumb, and laugh about it and get over it and move on quickly. With God, anything, absolutely anything is possible. Anything you put your mind to, you can achieve it as long as God's on your side. And lastly, family is everything. Family should stick together. Family should correct each other, encourage each other, love one another, but through it all, stick together. Family is a gift from God. Yeah, love you guys.
Who is that?
That's my 7th girl.
Oh, number 7.
No. She was born in New York on the 7th of the 7th month, almost 7 o'clock at about 6:40, weighing 7 pounds, 7 ounces. She's my 7th girl.
Okay, your 7th girl.
Yeah.
I like, I think the lesson that stood out for me is don't be scared of small beginnings.
Yeah.
Because we all just want to start and be successful, and you want to get there and have the big house, and you want to have the big title, and you're saying, it's okay to start at the bottom.
All the millionaires have been broke at some point, maybe a few times. You want to become a director? Great. As you count your successes, wait for your flop. Because you're going to hit a flop.
And
it's not the end of it.
And it's a mistake. It's just that, a mistake. Get up and carry on.
That's
Listen, speaking of family, apparently he enjoys playing board games with his family. I think after this 40 minutes, him and I are family. So him and I are going to play some board games, right? Come back.
Mewakofit has stopped everything, Joe.
The effort that he put into just that little small appearance was just out of this world. Brother Jerry's contribution was truly an amazing one during the SAFTAs. He was the overall chair. The words that just came out of that man's mouth was just amazing. So inspiring, and it sort of changed the whole approach to the entire judging process. So I'm truly humbled to have known him. Obviously, he's one of the biggest actors in South Africa.
Meyanswalang o ne a otlwe ke lehadima ke bona bosibo ke behediweng ka bona ke ka hoo ke le tjena.
Firstly, I've had the privilege of working with Ntate Jerry on 2 occasions. One is a movie called Shaft 6, and the other one is a movie called 5 Fingers for Marseille. I just want to say he does what he does with ease, but it only comes from the hard work he puts before he gets on set. But most importantly, it's how he is naturally a father figure, family man. His legendary status, his celebrity status doesn't seem to go to his head. He doesn't seem to see how important of a person that he is in the industry. And I just want to say thank you so much, Ntate Jerry Mofokeng.
Sepoko ke nna empa o lokile re tla kopana magwabeng. Ya bona jwale o tlile fatsheng lena ho tlo nka hlola.
That was the trailer for 5 Fingers for Marseille, a Western set in the Kingdom of Lesotho, starring Ntate Jerry as well as Vuyo Dabula, as well as Warren Masemola. Yo, are you excited about that? It's coming out in April, I believe.
Yeah. Sure, I must give 12 out of 10 to the makeup artist.
Nah.
That worked on that.
Look, but it's groundbreaking. I mean, a Western. I promise you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how involved were you in that?
Yeah, I just played that character. You know how people who work at the bar, and they've owned this for 30 years.
And they know everyone.
They know everything and everyone, and rightfully, they should be on the payroll of intelligence. And they also feel that they are father to everybody. They are in control. And their prizes to pay from time to time.
And that's you. I'm very excited about it. So I like and it goes back to what we're talking about, that the fact that you are trained at what you do means you can really do anything. There's a comment you said that you didn't believe movies like Sarafina depicted what was going on in South Africa. Yes, it's a movie, it's a blockbuster, but that is not the reality. Can you unpack that for me? Where were you going with that?
You want to get me into trouble?
No, not at all. Because can I give my opinion on it a little bit? Is that when there is a movie like this and it's a Western and it's 2018, I'm very happy that next we're going to have one where there's aliens and it's great and it's a South African movie. Because I don't want us to get stuck in a situation where the only movies we're doing are around apartheid and the struggle. And you know what I'm saying? Because of people like you and the thespians that are there, and the fact that there are kids currently in AFTA writing scripts, they're training for this.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
bless their souls, they didn't grow up in an era where apartheid was that much in their faces.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the imbalance is still there, but they didn't grow up in that. So they're not writing that because they're writing their reality.
Exactly.
So we have to have movies like this.
Yes.
We have. So when you said that about Sarafina, I was like, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Look, here's the thing, and I'll limit my comments just to this.
Yes.
When Sarafina got into New York, it really was a big thing.
Yeah.
And it came on the steps of Cry, the Beloved Country, and Sizwe Banzi's Dead with The Island, and a few other things, Woza Africa Festival. But please understand, it was victims of apartheid portraying themselves. It was not actors portraying another reality.
Their reality.
And therefore, that is why it was difficult to get understudies from the American stable and so on, because it was not actors portraying other reality. It was people who were themselves. And those who were smart then got themselves training so that they can outgrow the victim, the limited scope, and then the Leleti Kumalos of this world have ended up where they are.
Okay, enough said. Our game. Apparently you and your family like to play board games.
We do.
Are you a sore loser?
I'm a terrible loser.
Okay, thanks for warning me. So I might just, rethink whether I'm going to beat you or not. This is how it's going to happen? Yeah. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 TV titles here. I'm going to describe the show to you, and you must tell me what the title is.
The title of the show?
Yes, the title of the show.
If I can.
Okay, right. No, you can. Matiti was in it, Ling Kusheng. I think the title is in Sotho or Tswana, but I just life is. Yes, that's the one. They used to call like a scary man.
Yo. Yeah,
no. You were in it. Come on, now we're out of time and you only got one. The other one was Ululu Ubuyile, and I had to sing it. Remember, Ululu Ubuyile.
I missed that one.
And then Lisilo.
Yeah.
Lisilo. Okay, at least you got one. Okay, what are those? Are those actors?
Yeah, these are actors.
Okay, you have to describe them to me or give, you can't say their names, but yeah. It's like 30 seconds. You know 30 seconds. Okay, go.
One of the actors of the original Sizwe Banzi's Dead.
John Gunn, no?
Yes.
John Gunn, yes.
Meo ubua Sesotho, and she's not written a script. Ujwalo fela.
Nthate Mushesh.
Old woman.
And something that she's been in.
Libitso la hae ke kasi ya ko Soweto, Senemi ya hae.
Deep Blue, Orlando West.
Libitso la hae ke in station ko Soweto.
Okay, next one.
A re tlohele. Mme ke qetang ho bua ka yena ho rona le mo Sarafina a dlala Mandela.
Sarafina dlala Mandela. Leleti Kumalo.
Yes.
Okay.
More heist mthako o a thuntsha yena. Nna ke batla go thuntsha.
Time's up. Who was the woman who speaks Sesotho?
Lilian Tube.
Guys, I thought of her. And go to okay. We're not good at this. Listen, it's almost time to say goodbye. But before that, the love of his life, Mama Claudine Mofokeng Wa Makhetha, joins us in studio. Stay with us. Someone must come win. Welcome back. It has been such an honor to drink from Ntate Jerry's well of knowledge and wisdom. And now we're joined by his well of knowledge and wisdom. Mama Claudine Mofokeng Wa Makhetha, a relationship counselor, church leader, and the beat of Ntate Jerry's heart. But first, we've got a surprise for Mom and Dad. Have a look.
When I think about my dad, I think about the word honor. I think what I've really seen him live out throughout his life is he has been very intentional about honoring his children. He's been very intentional about honoring his wife. He's been very intentional about honoring relationships, as well as his job, you know, in everything that he does. And that's what I would take away from him. And from my mother, it would definitely be humility. We've been through quite a bit as a family. My mother has always had an amazing ability to keep her head down, to hold her family together, to cover us in prayer, and keep it moving. Yeah, I would say those are the things that I really learned from them, but more importantly, admire about them.
Okay, firstly, I got familiar with you there. I gave you a nickname, Claudia. Is it
Claudine.
It's Claudine most? Yeah, no one calls you Claudia unless they really know you. All right, so there you go. Listen, HH, when I watched it, I was like, there we go, humility and honor. Are you glad that those are the two things that your children, I'll start with you, Claudine, that your children walk away with when they think about you?
Very much so. Incidentally, yesterday, when I came back from work, they said, sure, we had a time with Dad. We were going through the Bible and we've decided our theme is being humble. I said, please rope me in. They said, you are humble enough, we don't need you.
And would you say, you know, because there's a thing about parenting is that there's things that you teach your kids and then there's things that they learn just by watching you.
Yes.
Was that more important for you, for them to watch you have humility?
Do as I do, not as I say.
Yeah.
And
when it comes to honor, are you glad that that's something he touched on as well?
This morning, the last born had a conference with me about that, to say it's all right to be humble, to be negotiable, but do people know who you are? Do you know who you are? Please walk in your honor, walk in your stature. That's it.
I wish I could be a fly. You know, at the dinner table here, it sounds like one masterclass and everyone is learning. And speaking of learning, you know, I read this and I was just like, okay, here's the one that I love the most. It's a book, it's called In Love and Intimate by both of them. I think the euphoric nature of the first phase of a love relationship can result in some people becoming love junkies, forever chasing the high of the love bug and refusing to grow to a stage of responsibility, accountability, and maturity. 37.5 years later, how did the love bug stay here with this couple? Ntate Jerry, I'll go to you.
Love must be serviced. There's no autopilot. And so I can't say 35 years, boom, I've done it. Now, sweetheart, just remember what I've done and just keep at it. I still have to do stuff. And that's why I took on holiday this January to celebrate, you know. And of course, it's about me knowing what makes her tick. And one of the things that keeps me going is to continue to surprise her.
Yes.
And she still can't catch me out up to today. But love must be revised.
Yeah. Another thing I love, because when it comes to love, we feel, you know, you get this notion in the movies that it's this thing that comes and then there's bells and there's whistles and then there's butterflies and then you're weak and then you're sweaty and then you're cold at the same time. You know, there's something in this book where you guys speak about the practicality of love. And you do conferences, you do love conferences where, you know, you speak to people.
Yes.
When you do the conferences, Ma'am Claudine, what's the one message you know that if they say to you, you've got 5 minutes left, you're like, let me make sure that I tell them this before they leave?
Yes. My one message is study your partner.
Example?
Know their temperament. So you don't compare them with anybody else. They're unique. And if you've studied them and you sort of have made out, okay, if I do this, they react like this, keep at it. You're not being foolish. You're scoring points for yourself. But study them because they are like that. They'll never change. And marriage doesn't change anyone.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Marriage does not change anyone.
No. They get worse.
Oh.
Because now they are entitled.
Yes, you are theirs. They're never going anywhere.
Yes.
I want you to buy this book purely because there's another, and you even give a masterclass on it where you speak about seasons of love, and you say, you know, you can't deny someone your spring just because your winter was bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Quickly, talk to me about that.
I talk about love for all seasons.
Yes.
In other words, a year, summer, cannot last you 6 months or more. Then it's not, a year must have 4 seasons. And when you're going through a winter season, you're still in love in winter. And let's go to Shakespeare. Love is not love which alters. When it alterations finds.
Changes.
When it winters finds. And by the way, some of those winters are the ones that prepare you for the best spring in your life. And so you're not going to change, you're not going to give up just because you're going through a rough patch. You'd be abnormal not to have a rough patch. It's just like the way you must deal with anger, with conflicts in your relationship. You're lying if you say you don't have conflicts. You don't get angry. As the Bible says, anger, but sin not. One of the principles I try and get people to live by is when you're right, when you're justified, when you are angry, do not do or say anything that you might have to apologize for. So be in love in all seasons. Because you talk about summer, people get mad and lose their minds in December.
Now, don't tell them everything that's in the book, eh? Because they must go buy it.
All right.
Okay.
But you must be able to handle winter, you must be able to handle summer responsibly.
Okay, thank you so much, Ntate Jerry. Thank you so much, Mom Claudine. Listen, go and get this. Trust me, married couples, if you want to get married, you want to know yourself, make sure you go out and get this one. Quickly, Instagram, he's at Jerry Mofokeng 8. Go and follow him. We need to reach 21,000. Join us again tomorrow for some more Real Talk. Cheerio.